What's going on, everybody? So, I wanted to send this message out last Friday, but unfortunately, life got in the way. Business life, jiu-jitsu life, training life. And so, getting this out now, kind of explaining what the process is and where we are status-wise as far as what's changes are happening up here at both Dallas Underground Strength and Fitness and Underground Jiu-Jitsu. So, I made a post yesterday talking about flags coming down and how it seems so much empty in there. And obviously that got some messages, that got some feedback, questioning as far as what's going on. And so I feel like, okay, now I really have to get this on there. So here we go. To give a little bit of context, when Diego and I came up with the concept of opening up Underground Jiu-Jitsu, gosh, that was back in June or July, coming up on 2 years ago this year. We knew that we were going to have to move into a bigger space. We knew that we were going to have to be eventually outgrow the current location that we were in. And the first location that we were in, basically in what we call phase one, that got moved up obviously to where we are now at Suite 104. Originally we were in Suite 108. And we had to move into Suite 104, which is directly next door, which was the ideal situation at that point in time. Unfortunately, we have outgrown that space, and we have pretty much gotten to the point to where we're at capacity next door. And so the whole goal point was eventually to move the jiu-jitsu school into where Suite 100 is at Dallas Underground Strength Fitness, and then move the gym next door into Suite 104. And so we're just going to be swapping things out. But that's going to give a great, really good avenue for both of us in that respect. For the simple reason of we need the more floor space. Right now, we're under 900 square feet as far as actual training space. By moving over here, we're going to have almost 2,000, a little over 2,000 total square feet with everything going on. So that is going to be absolutely fantastic. We're going to be building out a new changing room. We're going to be putting an HVAC in here. We're going to be just doing a lot of different stuff, and that's going to be starting up in the next couple weeks, which I'm really excited about. We have been working on this for quite some time, getting everything ready, getting everything finalized up, with the plans and getting all that situation up from there. It's also going to be a really good avenue for Dallas Underground Strength Fitness to move next door because while it is a smaller location, it is something that I've wanted to get back to doing in the first place and getting back into the personal component of it. Because when we moved in here December of 2015, let me back up. When we first opened up our first location in August of 2013, 10 years ago, it was... Oh God, I swore I wasn't going to do this. I swore I wasn't going to do this. But it was 2 weeks after my... It was 2 weeks after my dad passed away. Swore I wasn't going to do this. It was 2 weeks after my dad passed away is when we opened up the doors. And that was something that, wanting to show him what we were doing was... Ten years ago. Sorry about that. But it was important to me to do that. And so getting to that point, there was a lot of pride, a lot of stress, a lot of excitement when it comes into those things, on how we did stuff. But there was, the great thing about it was the community of people that we had. Those first clients that came through, we had a great group coming through, training with us over there at, 1340 Precision Drive, I think the address was. And so we had a great time. We had a lot of personal connection with them. And when we moved from that location over here in December of 2015, I'm not going to say that we lost a lot of that connection, but there seemed to be something missing because it wasn't that tight knit. It wasn't that congruent. It seemed to lose some of that cohesiveness for me, especially, initially. That may not have been the situation with, how everybody else perceived it. But for me, again, I'm a trainer. I like training people. Training groups is fine. Don't get me wrong, but I like that connection, that small group, that 3, 2, 1 person. So that's an important thing with me, and that's who I am. And so we are going to be getting back to doing a little bit more of the smaller group aspect with that. Now, here's the difference when things are going to be changing over. When we make the move over, I have to start reevaluating my perspectives and reevaluating my goals in the way that I operate with both operations. It's been successful on both sides, obviously. Underground Jiu-Jitsu was named, best, martial arts school, best in Plano for 2022. So we're really, really proud about that. Obviously, Dallas Underground Strength Fitness has done exceptionally well over the last number of years. But it's time for me to start reevaluating my goals and my role with both programs. And so because of that, it's very difficult for me to run both programs from an operation standpoint. It's hard for me to do the day-to-day stuff with Dallas Underground Strength Fitness and train and, be involved in the marketing, the promotions, and things of that sort. And then also be able to do it simultaneously for Underground Jiu-Jitsu. Especially when I'm getting up here at, 5:15 in the morning, staying up here working 10, 12, 15 hours a day, and then having to do stuff, it's hard for me to do things, well. And so I'm going to start stepping back. Now, what I mean by stepping back is I'm going to be taking a new position. I'm taking a new role. Obviously, Diego and Sydney and Richard are doing absolutely just phenomenally well over at Underground at the Jiu-Jitsu school. Not changing anything about that whatsoever. But here at Dallas Underground Strength Fitness, that's where we're going to be making a change. And so coming up in the next couple weeks, you're going to start me seeing to pull back as far as the day-to-day operations, the day-to-day, training and things of that sort. And because of that, I'm having somebody come in to essentially take over my job as far as the training, the operations, the day-to-day stuff. Now, that does not mean I'm not still going to be training. Obviously, I'm still going to be here. But I'm going to be scaling back as far as how much involvement I'm doing with that. And I'm going to be having somebody else take that position over. And that position, really, honestly, the person who's going to be taking over that position is Kenny Bernhardt. Kenny, we've known each other for a number of years. I got to know him, what was it? Probably back in 2015, I think is when we first met, shortly after I moved over here. And, Kenny's a former drill sergeant, United States Army drill sergeant, so obviously we get along, personality-wise, but is just an overall good guy, passionate, has a lot of leadership qualities, has a lot of potential, is looking to make that next step, and I can think of no better person to take over the day-to-day training component than with Kenny. And, of course, Martin is still going to be training here. I'm still going to be training here, but I'm going to be answering to Kenny when it comes into a lot of these things. But what that means is now I'm going to be able to take an ownership role and really oversee both programs well. It's like I said, it's hard for me to work with Dallas Underground Strength Fitness and do that well. Well, then Underground Jiu-Jitsu is going to suffer, and vice versa. We've seen that over the last couple months. I've tried different formats, I've tried different techniques, and it just didn't work. So that's the big news. I'm still going to be training. Some people are still going to be seeing me. Some people are going to see Kenny more often than not. Probably some people are going to be very happy about that. But it is going to be a good situation because at the end of the day, it's not about me. At the end of the day, it's not about Kenny. It's not about Diego. It's not about Sydney. It's not about Richard. It's about our students, and it's about our clients. And it's about making sure that this process can go further than what we can. And that's my goal. That is honestly my goal, is that Kenny is going to take this much farther than I was ever able to. The big realization with this was last October when I had my surgery, and I had to pull out for a couple weeks, and I had to let Kenny and Martin take the reins over for a couple weeks, and they did unbelievably well. They did so well that I didn't need to be there, and that's the way it should work. So, anyways, I'm sure there's going to be some questions. I'm sure there's going to be some concerns. I'm sure there's going to be some, people that are going to ask me more questions, and that's perfectly fine. And but other than that, guys, that's it. It is raining outside. It's Tuesday, and so be careful out there, guys. Peace out.